Well, good evening guys. It is Wednesday the 12th of September today. Back down the Avon as you can see, and fishing in a different place. Now I have been out a couple of times since I last saw you when I caught that chub, but not massively successful, but I'll go into that and tell you about what's happened shortly. What I've decided to do is drop into the swim where we had lots of barbel last year. If you watched any of the videos from last year, you may recognise it. A couple of reasons for doing this. We've had some rain, so I feel sort of less tied to the top end of the stretch near the weir. The weather's cooled off, so I think the fish will be a lot more spread out. Now there's more oxygen in the water. As I said, the water temperature has dropped a bit. Also, I've put my centre pin onto one of my barbel rods. Maybe brave, maybe stupid, I'm not sure, we'll find out. And this peg offers quite a deep sort of inner third to the river, if you like. It stretches about 3 foot deep, roughly, all the way up there. Here is the first sort of deepish peg. It's probably about 6 foot in front of me here, 5 or 6 foot, something like that. And we had lots of success, as I said, last year, so I thought I'd come in here for a change. Now I've been really excited because it's rained. It's rained yesterday, it rained in the night last night. It hasn't put a great deal of water on, but there's definitely some water on. Stupidly I forgot my temperature gauge. I've left it at home, my thermometer. But there's about a foot of visibility, so I was really excited to get down here tonight. It's about 7 o'clock now. I've been here about half an hour. Excuse me, keep looking down here because my rods are actually in the water down here. But what I want to do is just quickly tell you what's happened about 20 minutes or so ago. As I say, I sat here with just the cows for company in the field up there. Excuse my gear thrown all over the floor. And just on the inside of that bend over there, use the correct hand, just about there, there was a guy and his dog. They were just sat, he's a guy from the village. He likes to watch the kingfishers, so he was just sat there. That's about, say, about 6:30. And all of a sudden, there's a big splash caught my attention, and I turned around, and literally just on the sort of bend there where you can see about there, there was a moorhen, and it disappeared. It came back up and it disappeared again, and it came back up covered in weed and in the mouth of the otter. Now this is like 6:30. The sun's on the water then. It's just these creatures, they're just getting so brazen, aren't they? So it sort of took the tinge off the trip a bit, really. I mean, fortunately the moorhen did get away, although he doesn't seem to be in very good shape. I've been down there and sort of tried to see where he was, but he sort of went over the other side. He did come back across, and I walked over again. I didn't want to stress it out too much. I mean, it's alive and it's moving around, but I don't know whether it's got any leg damage or what. But I mean, obviously it won't let me get anywhere near it. I don't want to put any more stress on it, so I've kind of left it be up there. It's in the reeds. So not a very nice start to the trip, unfortunately, but you know, it is what it is. We can all moan, can't we? And from an angler's point of view, rightly so. I mean, the thing the thing I find most ridiculous about the otter situation, and as I say, we can moan as much as we want, you know, they're here and that's it, you know, that's that. I should ignore the fact that the otter's there because my tips are dancing, so there's some fish here as well, so he hasn't had everything. But while on that subject, I should also mention I was talking to a chap who fished the weir pool up here 6 weeks or so ago, He caught a little chub, and then he caught a little barbel, and then he caught a little chub, fishing halibut pellets. And he hooked something bigger. He thought, oh, fantastic. And got it to the top, and it was a pike. And up comes the otter and grabs the pike by the tail. So this guy's having a tug of war with the otter, and the pike's the rope. He said he got it in and got it in and got it in. The otter wouldn't let go, and it's only when he sort of got near it and got the landing net towards it that the otter let go. So he got the net under the pike. Unfortunately, it hadn't bitten him off, and as he sort of lifted it out of the water, the otter came up the bank after the pike. And it's only when he sort of kicked out at it, he didn't kick it, he just sort of kicked at it, that it cleared off. But you know, it's obviously a stocked one as well. It's got a collar on. I mean, I wasn't there, so you know, it's second-hand information, but I did see the photos of the pike, and its tail, it had two bits on the outside, and the middle bit was just gone. Everything was gone, you know, down to the roots, down to the flesh. But there you go, it went back, and it was still alive when it went back. Anyway, as I say, enough of that. Let's try and enjoy the fishing. So, if you saw the video from a few weeks ago as well, this is the swim where I lost the tension. So I wouldn't mind a tension. I wouldn't mind anything, to be honest. This river for the last week or so has been really, really hard going. Really, really tough going. So to be honest, if we can get something out, a chub, a barbel, a tench, you know, I'll be happy. A few bream I'll be happy with, to be honest with you. A few £5 bream, that'll be fantastic as well. So would like to catch something decent on the pin. That would also be fantastic, but we'll see what happens. I'm going to stop talking and sort all this gear out that I've just thrown all over the place with all these distractions and everything going on, and fingers crossed, before too long, the sun has now just dropped behind the trees. Before too long, we can have something out. Well, guys, tips are banging away. Haven't seen Mr. Otter again, fortunately. So, just to get you up to speed, what's been happening. I was out a week ago today, last Wednesday. That was the next session after the one you've seen me, the short video with the chub. I should say, I at this point, I met a chap actually down here. Don't often see people down here, but bumped into a chap down here. We got chatting. Really nice bloke, name's James, and we decided to do a bit of fishing together. And the first session we did, we came down after some nice perch. That was the idea. He had his drop shotting rod. Fish jumping. He had his drop shotting rod, and I just had like a lure rod, my small lure rod. And we thought I'd have a bit of go, see if we couldn't catch some of the nice perch from up near the weir and a bit around the lock area, that kind of thing. We did a couple of hours just into dark. It was a struggle, to be honest. This river, as I mentioned a minute ago, last week or so, it's just been awful. And to be honest, it isn't seeming a lot better tonight. This place, you can generally tell by the amount of topping that's going on and fish showing. But it's nothing, very little tonight. I mean, there's odd dimpling, and that was a little fish then that jumped out, but sometimes it's alive. But last week or so, it really hasn't been. So, having said that, fish just jumped out, brilliant. Right on cue, that's fantastic. So, as I say, we did a bit fishing into dark just for a couple of hours in the evening. We had a few little perch out, that was all. Nothing over about £1/4 pound, I think. So that was that. And then I came out again. I didn't get out this weekend. Came out again 2 nights ago, Monday night. And because it's been not good, you can kind of feel the place it's not fizzing, if you like. I thought, I know what I'll do. I'll have a walk down to the swim I fished in the winter, where there's a really deep hole, because up here it's about 3 foot deep generally. There's a little bit of a deeper spot in here, as I mentioned. I walked down there. It's probably 7 or 8 foot on the inside, and that was actually the first time I put this centerpin reel on my barbel rods. I thought we'd get off down there, not necessarily catching a barbel, although barbel have come out of there in matches, I know. But I thought I'd have a go anyway, and fished into dark, and I can actually cast the pin in the dark, which is good, or cast underarm swing with a couple of fingerfuls of line, as I'm doing here. Fished and fished and fished, and to be fair, the rod tips were tapping away most of the evening, and just after it got dark, there's a huge splash next to me. I'm like, that's either like a 30-pound carp jumping out, which it isn't, or it's an otter chasing fish. And then it happened again about 5 meters to my left. I'm just like, oh god, these bloody things are everywhere. I'm gonna have a t-shirt printed, I think, otter magnet. Anyway, it all went quiet for a bit, and I really wasn't feeling it at all. I'd had a chat with my mate Harry, who fishes upstream, and he'd had a really difficult day as well. He fishes on a Monday. He'd had a difficult day, so I thought it's probably not going to happen. Anyway, I sort of rod's plucking away. I was sort of half packing up. It was about 10 o'clock, and I thought, that's it. I brought the one rod in, and I sort of turned around and sat back down to the rod I had left out, and it tapped a couple of times, and I thought, next time it taps I'm going to hit it. Fully expecting nothing, to catch nothing. You know, I've got a 14mm halibut pellet on. There's a tiny little tap, and I struck, and I caught a nice bream. I was amazed when the rod went over. As I say, I had a nice bream, so I didn't blank. Oh, there's something chasing these fish. See, this is why we came down with the lure rods down here, but they weren't playing ball that night. But perhaps I should have the lure rods with me tonight, looking at these little fish scattering. Anyway, something's pulling this halibut pellet. So that's you up to speed. That's what's been happening. Not a lot really. I've been going fishing, but I haven't been troubling the fish too much. As I say, I was, half a mile down there, otter. Come up here, otter. Whether it's the same one, who knows. I didn't see this one well enough to see whether it had a collar on, and it was pitch dark the other night when I was down there, so I didn't see whether that one had a collar on. But they're absolutely everywhere, aren't they, these days? Right, I'm due a recast. Well. We've got something on here, guys, so do excuse me for not putting the camera on just yet, but I think it's a bream the way it's plodding. Well guys, looks like that bit of rain has done the trick. Tips have been tapping away. I decided tonight that I was going to strike at half decent pools as well, and I have done. There you go, funny looking bream, isn't it? I didn't put the light on, I was sure it was a bream, but came in like a sack of spuds till it got under my feet. Then it headed for the bankside vegetation, so I knew it wasn't a bream then. So apologies for not putting the light on. It's fantastic, isn't it? Oh, it's stonking great chub. That's fab. And I think it's only about 8, something like that. Fantastic. Brilliant. Let's get him back. Well guys, it's gone 10 o'clock now, time for me to head off home. Not really tempted to stay, to be honest. There's not a lot happening. I'm getting the odd knock on the tips, but I think it's just bream, to be honest with you. The Otter's working to my right here, only a matter of meters away. I can hear it splashing away. It's obviously chasing some fish or something. I think I've been well and truly ottered this evening. Has gone very, very cold as well this evening. A right cold nose, and my fingers are cold. I don't have my thermometer with me, my temperature gauge. As I said earlier, I've left it at home. But I think it's getting towards single figures certainly, and that's probably not done the fishing any good either, really. And the rain we've had hasn't really put the river up noticeably, although it was a lot more lively earlier than it has been. So I think it definitely did some good. But as I say, perhaps this cold air has just knocked things on the head. So unfortunately, no more fish. But thanks very much for watching. Enjoy your own angling. I shall be back out here most probably at the weekend. Not sure exactly what we'll do, but maybe get after some perch up there, or after the barbel up there. It depends on the weather, really. We'll suck it and see. And I've certainly got some zander on my mind as well. I did see one earlier smashing into the silver, so definitely thinking about some zander fishing. So that's certainly for the next coming few weeks. So tight lines, and I will see you again at the weekend.